Hi, this is Jamar Laster, Content Director of Impressions, and welcome to the Impressions Podcast. Join us today for part 2 of our conversation with Jeremy Picker, CEO and Creative Director of Amb3r Creative. In this part of our conversation, Jeremy is going to talk about one of his favorite subjects, color, provide resources for decorators to learn how to work with brands, and he'll answer the age-old question, ranch or blue cheese with buffalo wings. Enjoy. Subscribe to Impressions Expo's YouTube channel, as well as the Impressions podcast on Apple or Spotify, and check out industry-leading educational content at impressionsmagazine.com and our Impress You online platform. Jeremy, you are really big on color, so let's talk about color for a little bit. What's your favorite color?
My favorite color is Pantone 306.
Pantone 306.
I call it my picker blue. Again, it's just a color that I really have come to like, and we use it for Amb3r, my main company, and then I'm building kind of my personal brand side of things. And I'm using that same color. You can kind of, right there.
There it is.
Kind of that, bright blue. I have some secondary colors that I like, greens and yellows. Are navy is one of my secondary colors, but yeah, Pantone 306 is my favorite color. And I try to keep it consistent across platforms. So, people kind of associate some of my marketing materials and my branding assets, with that color. I always try to include it somehow. But yeah, that's my color I have all over my office here.
Awesome. Talk about the importance of color and how it can help with branding.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I'm trying to educate myself more in, instead of just the high level of color trends and seasonal colors is getting into the psychology of color. I know I'm going to show you a little image. This image that kind of talks about what color is associated with what emotional, psyche. So all the different brands that have that yellow, these big box are major brands. They put a lot of money into the R&D of just the color. They're just not picking it because they like it, but they're trying to, what does my brand represent? And when you go through this kind of chart, you're able to see the brands, like who would my audience associate with more? If I'm a rodeo clothing company, that makes shirts and hats for that community, that peaceful, that growth, health on the green side, you see John Deere, you see Land Rover, some outdoorsy brands, that's most likely a brand, your brand colors would associate and bring that emotional feeling. So I really I'm trying to get into it more, but I think it's, as long as it goes well together, it's cohesive. The colors aren't fighting, and not even just the colors, it's the hue of the colors. Like when you've seen a royal blue or, a red with a green, like if they're on this same frequency of color, it's really hard to see. But if you lighten it or darken it or, change the saturation, it's going to be a lot easier on the eyes when you look at it on the screen, and it's just, it trips you out. Like it's hard to read. Those are the things I think on a high level, just to pick those right colors that blend well together, that are going to look good on different mediums. I've seen so many brands that they'll keep their core colors and they'll print it on certain shirt colors, and it just doesn't fit. There's this conflict, and it doesn't pop. It doesn't like stand out. I say, I don't even know if this is technical, but when it's on the same visual frequency, it's just really hard to see. And so I think when you're picking these colors for your brand, really, like, one, it's you, the brand, like what is aesthetically pleasing to you in your eyes, and we always try to come up with core colors, which are usually 2 to 3 from what we do. And then we have a secondary color bracket, maybe of 5 different colors that support it. Again, if you have this super lime green logo, that's going to be difficult to really make impactful merchandise, because not everyone's going to want a lime green shirt or, an orange shirt. It's like, how can you use your secondary colors at the beginning and maybe find these staples, that would be a good shirt color, and then you use the core colors as the ink colors. I think people think, oh, my brand is green, so let's have a green shirt. But I always try to talk people off the ledge. That might be great for a one-time event. It's uniform, people, it stands out. A lot of volunteer shirts I see, they are choosing these bright colors or loud colors, but is that shirt ever going to get worn after the fact? And you want to think about those things, like the choice of color. A navy shirt or a black shirt or charcoal, that's going to get worn a whole lot more than if you're and then using bright colors in the design versus bright shirts. I think people want it to match, but again, it's, are you creating something wearable, or are you just making a one-time t-shirt and then it's going to the thrift store? You could just take a tour at your local thrift store, and that's where all of these volunteer shirts, these staff shirts, these 5K shirts go to die. You can find thousands of them, because again, it's great for that one-time event, but it's not something that is going to be in heavy rotation in a customer's closet. It just won't, Plus, people you get into skin tone and how colors look with your skin. For me, I don't like oranges. I don't necessarily like reds. It just doesn't go well with my skin tone. I love, navies and blues and greens. Are my core, royal blues is about as bright as I get. Here we are rocking the royal blue together, man.
Go.
We didn't even plan this, people.
Didn't even plan it, people. It's just a great minds think alike.
Yeah, it's our, what are we feeling today? Trust, dependable, and strength. I mean, we're on that educational tip, Jamar. So, it's subconscious a lot of times. But yeah, man, I think people having those core colors really helps you build that brand and have that consistency on, across social media. I see like Rock has done a great job of their lime or neon green or whatever they call it. When you go to screen print shops, those presses stand out more than any other brand out there. And they've done a great job of using that color throughout everything. And you just know the green presses are Rock. That's it, and people don't even need to know necessarily the brand, but they associate that color with screen printing. So they did a great job at that. But again, just really thinking through it, not just randomly picking a color, and not just putting it, if you're outsourcing it to an agency, don't just trust the colors they come up with. Sure, it resonates with you, and you are that director, like letting them know that, I know a lot of brand firms use the psychology of color and what they're trying to convey, but don't just trust them on your livelihood, on your brand. I think being involved in knowing 5 years down the road, am I picking a seasonal color that, is it going to stand out, or am I picking something tried and true that's timeless, and just building off of that and making it to where, they come into your shop, they go to your website, they go to your social media, they get a gift pack from you, and it's all on the same color scheme. And it really makes it more professional, and it builds trust that they know that what you're doing. You're leading the way and helping them make better decisions, instead of, your customers are doing way better things in the print shop. Like you want to show your expertise, and just having a good, nice core color, I think is really important.
Good point. You've had a lot of experience working with brands. Can you tell me about one of your more memorable experiences?
Yeah. So I guess my first one would be a bad experience, and as you mature in your career in learning the way to approach, brands. I used to take any brand, like if the brand was pumped and hyped, I would get all hyped, and not even thinking through all of these things that we've been talking about. Or have they planned this line? Do they have connections? Have they thought through their distribution strategy? I would just like look at the brand, their designs or their ideas, and like jump on board. And so there was this brand that was recommended to me from an industry, company that they are into the software space. And these guys had financial backing. They had a vision. They hired a branding agency, and they already had kind of their core looks. And I judged the initial conversation based off of those. Oh, they seem like they have it together. And sometimes you just never know until you get into it. Well, when we got into it, we found out, even though this company was building, a t-shirt, I guess not necessarily print on demand, but just more of an online t-shirt retailer or merch shop. You could go upload your logo and, get the shirt made in bulk, but they knew nothing of the industry. And so I think at the beginning, even technology could be a technology, and the way the customer likes to communicate is really important. After we set ourselves up on Basecamp, which is a third-party app that helps you, have projects and tasks and shared calendar. You can get everyone on board. There's an iPhone app. It's a really nice way to communicate, and then have a paper trail instead of, reply RE, in the subject line and trying to sort through an email. When it's on Basecamp, it's searchable. It's really easy to find. But we found that we were building brand assets and then a huge merch line. But after every post we did, one of the owners, there was like two owners, one of the owners just, I guess, doesn't work well with technology and wanted to have a phone call after every pitch, every mock-up we did. And the client couldn't grasp, they wanted 18, 20 products, but they couldn't manage it all in their head. And this project, I use it to this day because it's what we were able to create for them, and the full merch line. And we did specialty inks, we brought out all the tricks, that worked well with the design and the brand, but it took like 8 months to develop. And no matter who you are, you can't make that profitable, man, when it takes so long and it drags out. When we would get to the quoting phase, we went through probably 8 or 9 edits because they didn't necessarily know their budget, to the point where when we already got them already pumped on everything, and when they saw everything next to each other as far as startup cost, when people say cost is not an issue, that needs to be a red flag. That cost is an issue. It will be an issue. And getting all that up front and organized is going to save everyone time and heartache. So again, it's that memorable experience. I learned so much I don't want to work with companies that aren't tech savvy. I just don't. I don't want faxes. I don't mind having calls to get everyone on the same page, but there's no reason to talk through an email on a phone call. There's no reason for it. We're all busy. I'm going to have to charge twice as much as I am now if you want me on the phone all the time, or my team. I know people, they're just like, get on the phone. People just want to text or email, but we're processing so much business, we can't talk to everybody. Some firms they have enough people, they have enough power, labor to handle that. Most of us don't have that time and capacity. So again, doing all these questions up front and finding out from these brands how they like, you want to make sure that not only are they going to pay their bills, you know, that they're going to be able to communicate and they're going to be easy to work with. Again, you have to experiment. You have to trust people and take that. But I learned so much that we had this with my project managers after the line we built. We just went down the list and what went wrong? How did this take so long? How can we improve our system to make it easier for people that might not be as creative or tech savvy to process information? You know, we had to fire that client when they came back to reorder. Wow. Because it just wasn't we don't have the capacity to hold their hand that much. And it was hard. You know, they spent a good amount of money, but again, if it affects my team mentally, like they were always stressed with that client. And when your team starts talking trash about your clients a lot, something's going on there. You know, it could just be your staff just being picky, but you need to, as an owner, definitely you got to get to the why is this happening? Because again, we're trying to make money here. You know, we want to help people, but we have to keep the lights on. And so that requires doing more in less time, streamlining, automating where we can. And so all that to say is, like, there's only a few positive experiences that I've come that people have actually sustained their brand over years. Most of them are, you know, maybe 2 to 3 years and they can't make a living out of it and they go get a corporate job or a normal job. And then the brand goes to the side. But I think learning from the worst clients is going to help guide you to make it easier for your team and for the client over time. Again, there's a lot of hand-holding with brands, and you want to almost pick the types of brands you want to work with. You know, some people don't even mess with startup brands, even if they're a screen printer. They want to work with people that are already established, that understand that cost of inventory. When you're a small startup, $2,000 is a lot of money. It's going to be hard to make a lot of money when they're just ordering that amount at first. You know, again, it's those reorders. So really targeting who your client is as far as the brand, making sure that they seem to have it all together before you dive in just to help print their shirts. Yeah, I think you'll save a lot of heartache.
Be tech savvy, people.
Yeah. And again, if the printer's not tech savvy, then they're going to attract customers that probably aren't tech savvy. You know, for me, I'm not trying to, like, I'm different from a screen printer. You know, I'm trying to be a little more boutique to where I'm choosing the clients to work with. You know, it's taken me 13 years to do that, but you know, you want to align yourself with people who understand your philosophy and vision towards merchandise. You know, I'm done trying to convince people of that. I spent my whole career trying to do that, and it just leads to stress. You know, when you are so passionate about t-shirts and the styles and the colors and specialty inks, and your customer don't see that value, you have to recognize that. And that just might mean stop trying to help them with that. You can still take their orders and help them. And if they're happy with that, cool. But when you're trying to get people to understand the value of merchandise the way you are, it's just going to lead to headaches. And so that's what I've learned over time, is just, I want to align myself with people who value the things I value and can work seamlessly with our structure and business model that we've set up. Again, I know we're not for everybody. We use these third-party apps, which helps us manage more. If they just want to work through email or phone calls, they're not going to work. They're not going to be a long-term client for the most part, just because it's just not going to, they'll get frustrated. We'll get frustrated, and, you know, it doesn't make for a great relationship. So align yourselves with brands that I think value the things that you value, and appreciate that. Not everyone cares about the coolest colors or styles or specialty inks. Those are great clients as the foundation to keep those presses running. But again, that could go to that part where you're just making widgets, you're just printing shirts. There's, what is that long-term value and fulfillment you have as a business owner, decorator? I've seen a lot of people just get burned out, but just because, you're always the bottom of the totem pole and you just get the heat from your customers that, I don't know, I'm going off on a tangent, but again, just align yourselves with people that value the things you are, that you see valuable as, when it comes to building merchandise.
Okay. Good stuff. Let's, before we round it out here, let's do our quick pick one game. Okay. I'm going to give you 3 sets of 2. I'm going to ask you to make a selection and you tell me why. Okay.
Okay.
All right. iPhone or Android?
Oh man, iPhone and all things Mac.
There you go.
No PC, no Microsoft. I don't roll like that. All Apple.
Okay, all Apple all day, right?
Yep. Okay. Watch, phone, iPad.
All right. Earth tones or pastels, since we've been talking about color?
Yeah, I love pastels, man. I don't rock them as much these days, but I don't even get out of my cave too often. But earth tones, again, it's browns, tans, like warm grays. They don't necessarily go with my skin tone very well. So I like bright and bold colors. And pastels are again classic and timeless. So, you can always rock a nice light blue polo or a peach polo. It's preppy and classic, but yeah, I'm pastel color all the way.
Okay. Here's the big one, man. Ranch or blue cheese on the wings?
Ranch all day, every day. Blue cheese will go straight in the trash, man. I can't roll with, I feel like blue cheese, it taints my wing flavors a little bit. Like I like ranch to keep it cool, because I like things like extra hot, so I like to sweat a little bit. Right. But I think blue cheese like fights the flavors too much, man. What is your poison? What do you like the best?
I am team blue cheese all the way. Team blue cheese, man. I'm like you. I like the spicy flavors, and something about that blue cheese to me, it accentuates the flavor to me, and it kind of cools it down a little bit, and the blue cheese coats the wing real nicely. So when you take that bite, it's like you get the flavors just all mingle together, and it works for me.
Nice, man. Yeah, I think I had a bad experience growing up. I think it was like Hidden Valley Ranch or it was the brand Hidden Valley. Mm-hmm. And then it was their blue cheese salad dressing. And I remember my aunt would not let me leave the dinner table, and she just squirted that blue cheese all over. And I still have nightmares, man. I've never liked blue cheese. And again, that I know like artisanal blue cheese, it's going to be a lot different. And I might even like some of it, but since then I can't rock the blue cheese. I've been ruined.
Well, hey man, it's a polarizing topic, I'm learning.
Man.
It is what it is.
We can have different choices and get along still, right?
And get along just fine. Exactly. All right. For our last question here, I want to see if we can get into a little bit of a forecasting mode. What merch-related trends do you see on the horizon this year with merch, and then also with color?
Yeah, I think I've been getting asked a lot more for oversized garments, male and female, like not just relaxed fit, but like drop shoulder, baggy point, not necessarily like the long and slim phase that we went through, but teenage like a lot of my clients are religious organizations, and they do summer camps or conferences, and they're really progressive. Like they're never, at least my clients, it's never about price. It's about what's cool and, unique. And so I've been looking into a lot of oversized products. I know Shaka wear, I've never been able to sell those shirts, but now like people are actually liking the like heavyweight oversized looks, which is cool. I know Bella Canvas has, some drop shoulder stuff. But yeah, I think that's been interesting, especially going in the spring and summer. I'm a sweater, so I like thin, lightweight fabrics. I'm a tri-blend snob, but I always didn't understand why people in the South liked, and it seemed like the Southeast more, and maybe Southeast, they love the comfort colors. And probably for the first 10 years of my career, I never sold one comfort color shirt. Like I would either talk them off of the ledge and push them towards another garment. But it's kind of funny. I went on vacation, and I bought a tourist shirt, which I never do, because again, we're spoiled. We know how much it costs, right? So, but I actually bought one, and I've been really digging the pigment wash, whether it's NLA inspired dye or comfort wash, comfort colors. And so like I'm actually enjoying that style, which is kind of weird for me to say, but I think it's different. It's going to be different in the South than it is on the East Coast or on the West Coast. And so, I'm seeing the bucket hats becoming more popular. I think the first round, my brother, he ran a clothing company in the early 90s, and they used to rock the bucket hats, like all day, all different types, camo, and almost like what was that show? Like Fat Albert, they would rock the bucket hats that's the 70s probably, but I'm getting asked for that a lot more. And then like crossbody bags, flight bags, or like the hip bags that you can put across your chest. I'm selling a lot more bags than usual. And again, not like drawstring backpacks or messenger bags, but just really the more streetwear influenced bags. And then I think the last thing, which I really enjoy, is people adding like patches on garments in multiple, different locations. I've seen some people put like 3 big letters of Chanel and embroider on the hood of a sweatshirt, just really trying to, obviously high fashion and streetwear, a lot of it's blended, and it's probably the most influential in casual wear. But, I'm seeing the relaxed fit, but I'm also seeing a lot more skin being shown, crop tops, tank tops. I think on the female side, crop top hoodies and crop top tees. Like, again, I think it's going back to the 90s style, high-waisted jeans and the crop tops. I think that's going to be a trend that just keeps going. But man, it's been interesting. I think a couple years ago, the trends were pretty common. Now, I think since COVID, you're getting a lot of more niche styles, people really building out. I think TikTok's really helped with a lot of styles that young people are wearing, and the influences. So yeah, man, I'm not seeing a ton of decoration like trends. I think puff has been popular the last few years. And I'm still seeing it, which is cool, because I like it when it's done well. This one is from, I think, the 70s or 80s, old school puff, and now it's all cracked, which has a cool vibe. But I think I enjoy that people are at least, using specialty inks to elevate the design, not just to do it because they can do it, but really bringing out the design through inks outside of just plastisol or water based.
Okay. Really good. Really good. We're going to get out of here, but before we go, can you let people know how they can find you online and on social media?
Yeah, we at Amb3r Creative, we haven't been doing social media for the last probably year. We can't take on any more business currently, so we've just kind of stopped pushing it because we're turning some people away, but we have a small team, and so we're kind of at max capacity. But for my personal, LinkedIn is my probably number one platform that I love, talking about merchandise, usually design, creative development, merchandise curation, and then just marketing aspects around merchandise. So LinkedIn, and then Twitter, JW Picker, Instagram, JW Picker. But yeah, Twitter, I'm most active kind of like in our industry there, but then LinkedIn, I'm trying to build up an audience, and help people make better merchandise, whether it's for my clients or for my peers. I want to get the industry elevated as much as I can contribute. And so, I really like LinkedIn because, one, that's where buyers are, customers are, but also I'm trying to educate people within our industry just to make, to elevate and to think about merchandise a little more than just putting a design on a t-shirt.
Thanks to Jeremy Picker of Amb3r Creative for joining us today. And thank you for listening to the Impressions Podcast. Remember, in everything you do, leave your best impression. We'll see you next time.